I learned long ago that a good smile is a door you keep propped with your foot. People walk through faster when they think you're already happy to see them. That night, under the dim hum of a Minneapolis hotel lamp, I propped that door with the easiest smile I owned and pressed call. Darren answered 2 rings in, hair damp, chest bare, a towel slung low, his grin set to weekend. "Ivy, hey," he said, making it sound like I surprised him in the best way. "How's the conference?" "I've heard 14 versions of the word synergy today," I said. "It's starting to lose meaning. Or maybe it never had one." He laughed, leaning on the dresser. The camera tilted just enough so I could make out our bedroom behind him. He must have propped his phone on a candle jar, my jar, the one I never lit because I liked the label too much. I saw the edge of our headboard and the navy throw I bought on clearance like a prize I'd smuggled from a hostile country called Home Goods. "I miss you," he said, rubbing the towel against his neck. "I swear the house echoes without you." "Echoes," I said. "Fancy word." "Fine. It's boring without you," he said. "I made pasta. It tasted like punishment." "You boiled it?" "I tried." "Then yes," I said. "Punishment tracks." He looked good. He always looked good. Operations manager at a mid-sized logistics firm, prince of neatly rolled sleeves, brunch-level small talk. "Your presentation tomorrow?" he asked. "It's done," I said. "Keynote's a guy who uses metaphors about boats. If he says tide once, I may walk into the lobby and sell my laptop to a passing traveler." "Don't sell the laptop," he said. "We like the laptop." "We do," I said, and let the comfortable part of the conversation stretch long enough to feel real. I told him about the breakout session where a guru scribbled a funnel on a whiteboard and said the word authentic like it was a coupon code. He told me about the dog next door that howled when the mail truck squeaked. Domestic fluff, the kind you could fold and stack in a drawer. Then Darren shifted, angling the camera as he reached for something out of frame. I saw the room behind him clearly then. Pillows, the throw, the window's dotted pattern reflected from the street. And on the far side of the bed, my side, lay a rectangle of light. It was the unmistakable glow of a phone face down with a notification pushing through. Not Darren's, which was upright and in his hand. Not mine, which lay here on the hotel desk, humming with a different city's air. The case looked familiar, glittered at the edges in that way my sister liked. The charm loop was a tiny silver star. Celeste had begged me for that case for her birthday, insisting it would catch light like a promise. He kept talking. I stopped listening. The glow on my side of the bed was steady, a soft blinking pulse, like the room had breathing I hadn't consented to. "Ivy?" Darren said, noticing the drift in my eyes. "You still there?" I made my face move. "Yeah, sorry. Hotel Wi-Fi did a thing." He smiled, the I got you smile he used in meetings and in our kitchen when a sauce broke. "I hate hotel Wi-Fi." "Everyone does," I said. Before we deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. "Come back early," he said, lazy, like a wish he didn't believe I'd grant. "I'll take you to that new taco place, Tuesday, even if it's not Tuesday." "That's a bold plan," I said lightly. "Hold that thought." He shifted again. The camera panned a few inches, and for one moment there was the shock-white stripe of my pillowcase, the half-lowered blinds, and a shadow moving with a rhythm I knew too well. It wasn't graphic. It didn't have to be. Suggestion is louder in married houses. He returned to frame, towel still knotted, smile now a touch tighter. "So," he said, "call me after your thing tomorrow?" I matched his tone, kept my eyes where he wanted them. "Sure," I said. "I'll probably be at the airport." "Oh? You're coming back right after?" "Could be," I said. "Flights are cheap if you're willing to sit near the bathroom." He chuckled. You always get the best deals. I do, I said. It's a talent. My face in the corner of the screen looked like mine. Clever, tired, wanting to sleep, but refusing. I held that image. The glow on the bed held too. You know what's funny, I said, picking a tone I used with fragile clients. Our bedroom looks different on camera. He glanced back, quick. Yeah? Yeah, I said. Have you been rearranging my side of the bed? He looked at me again. No. Why would I touch your side? I shrugged and smiled, a door propped with a foot. Déjà vu décor, I said. Feels like I've seen this shot before. He blinked. I don't get it. You don't need to, I said gently. You look good. Save the towel. It suits you. Ha, he said. Miss you, Ivy. I know, I said, and hung up before the word could reach the glow. I stared at the blank screen until I could hear my breathing like an old radiator. My hotel room smelled like citrus cleaner and the paper-wrapped cup I'd filled with ice. On the desk, a program from the conference leaned against a complimentary pen, the kind that writes once and retires. I didn't cry. I didn't throw anything. I have a gift for stillness that looks like serenity. It isn't. It's a lever I learned to pull when I was a kid, translating our parents' arguments into polite phrases for neighbors. Elaine and Victor, my mother and father, taught me to hold my ground and choose my words like a chess set. My sister Celeste learned something else: how to cut in line with a laugh. Her needs always wore sequins. I opened my laptop and logged into our shared account as if I were checking the weather. We had one joint checking account for the mortgage and shared bills, then the separate accounts we both maintained like personal islands. The joint one handled auto-pays and the domestic churn. I had set it up. He had let me, grateful to outsource the boring parts. Boring parts saved me. Balances loaded. Numbers arrived like guests with well-timed gifts. His paycheck had hit at 4:12 p.m. The mortgage would pull tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. We had a window with a hinge you could hear if you knew to listen. I selected transfer. I moved every cent from the joint account into my LLC's business account, labeled Monroe Creative. My name only. We'd opened the LLC when I made the jump to consulting 2 years ago. I paid taxes from it. I paid Nora from it. My best friend who understood copy like a surgeon understands hands. A warning box popped up like a hall monitor. I approved it. Funds slid. I watched the confirmation screen long enough to memorize the last 4 digits, just in case anyone asked me in a tone that suggested I was forgetting my ethics. Then I logged into the car lease account. Darren's black sedan performed loyalty for his image, an upgrade he'd pushed for until I relented and co-signed. My name on the dotted line, his grin in the dealership's reflection. I found the Manage tab, the small gray link that said Terminate. I read the policy, the fees, the Are you sure? Child locks. I was sure. I canceled his leased car because we could not afford both it and his talent for rearranging my side of the bed. Next, the airline. I booked the earliest flight home for the morning. I chose the first nonstop, seat 12C, an aisle near the bathroom like I'd joked, except it wasn't a joke. I added travel insurance not because I believed anything would change, but because it felt like sealing an envelope. My phone buzzed. A calendar reminder. Presenter tech check, 7 hours a.m. I deleted it. I wrote a quick email to the conference coordinator. Emergency, apologies, slides attached. Then I wrote to my client. Reschedule due to family issue. We'll send revised assets tonight. I attached the revised assets. I do not leave loose threads when the fabric is about to be yanked. When the logistics were complete, the transfer, the lease, the flight, I poured the ice into my mouth and let it crack until the noise smoothed my head. On the TV, someone sold knives that could slice a tomato into translucent coins. The clock on my phone read 11:42 p.m. In our house, 2 miles from a river with little boats that looked like toys, My husband stood in a bedroom that witnessed our vows trying on an excuse he thought he'd never need. Discovery can be quiet. People imagine sirens and broken plates. Sometimes it is a ledger and a checklist and a hand that doesn't tremble while clicking confirm. I imagined my sister's phone face down on my pillow, the glitter case catching light like a secret she'd promised to keep and then forget. I opened our family group chat, the one with my parents, his parents, my sister Darren, and me. It was usually for photos of lasagna and reminders about birthdays. My mother liked to drop links to articles about posture. His mother sent pictures of hydrangeas and wrote captions like they were press releases. At 9:01 p.m., Celeste had posted a boomerang from a rooftop bar, string lights, a glass tilted, her smile wide and hungry. I considered typing. I did not. Instead, I opened a blank note and wrote 5 lines. Joint account 0, car lease canceled. Flight 6:10 a.m., arrive 8:35 a.m. Parents brunch invite for 10:30 a.m. Smile. The smile wasn't for show, it was a tool. I texted my mother, "Can you do brunch at our place tomorrow? I want to surprise Darren after my flight. Bring Dad. I'll pick you up, coffee on me." She sent back 3 exclamation points and a heart. My father responded with a thumbs up, his favorite symbol. I texted Darren's mother, Clara. "Last-minute plan. Brunch at our house tomorrow, our treat. Can you and George be there at 10:30? Clara liked things that sounded like tradition. She said yes with a sentence about fruit. Then I wrote to Darren, "Airport early, land 8:35. I'll grab bagels. See you soon." He sent back a heart. I packed my suitcase with the same order I used whenever I left a hotel. Shoes on the bottom, toiletries in the small zipped pocket, laundry folded into a plastic bag. I checked under the bed even though I rarely let anything roll there. I took the pen with the hotel name because I always do. It's my small collection of places I've been. Before I turned out the light, I opened our home security app and checked the cameras. The living room looked clean and dim. The front porch was empty, a rectangle of quiet. We didn't have a camera in the bedroom. Respect for privacy had been one of our house rules, framed like a nice print. I lay down and stared at the ceiling until the ceiling stared back. When I closed my eyes, I saw the glow again. My alarm chirped at 4:10 a.m. I showered quickly, wiped the mirror with my hand, and put on the black pants and white blouse that pass for neutral. They make you readable. At the airport, I carried coffee like a prop and watched people queue. Families in hoodies, solo travelers with backpacks that announced countries. I stood at the gate and thought about the drive from the airport to our house. I'd pick up both sets of parents. I'd frame it as a perk of my early landing and my generous nature. They'd be excited. They'd be curious why I wanted everyone there at once, but curiosity needs a nudge. I would nudge. On the plane, I reviewed my plan the way I would a client pitch. Objectives: reveal truth with witnesses, avoid escalation, maintain control of narrative, minimize collateral for those who earned none. Tactics: gather parents, capture evidence, document reactions, keep my voice even. I landed to a sky that looked rinsed and put back. I collected my suitcase, texted both sets of parents that I was on my way, and rented a car because I figured Darren's sedan might not respond to my key fob anymore. My car, a practical hatchback, waited in long-term parking at my home airport. I'd fetch it later. First, my parents. Elaine and Victor lived 15 minutes from our house in a brick colonial that smelled like cinnamon. They were dressed like an occasion waited on the porch. "Look at you," my mother said, hugging me. "Our famous traveler." "Famous in windowless ballrooms," I said. My father put my suitcase in the trunk. "You sure about the time?" he asked. 10:30? "Right on schedule," I said. We picked up coffees and drove to Clara and George's house. Darren's parents stood in their foyer like they were waiting for a photographer. Clara wore pearls and that tight-lipped smile she used when she wanted to show she was supportive without approving. George had already chosen silence as his contribution to the day. "How fun," Clara said when I told her about brunch. "George, the fruit." George lifted a bag as if on cue. It held grapes and cut melon in a plastic container. They followed me to the rental car like a small parade. On the drive, my mother asked about the conference. I gave her a version that emphasized how much I learned and how much I didn't miss. Clara asked if Darren had slept well while I was away. I said, "He said the house echoes without me," and she smiled like I'd presented a favorable metric. When we pulled into our driveway, my heart didn't race. It tapped, steady, like someone drumming fingers on a desk. I unlocked the front door and let everyone in with the same hostess cheer I used for book club. The living room was tidy. A cardigan of mine hung over the back of a chair. The hydrangeas Clara gifted us last weekend had been watered, which told me Darren was trying to impress a particular audience. "Set everything down," I said. "I'll go get him." "Oh, we should surprise him together," Clara said, arranging the fruit platter with precision. "We will," I said. "I just want to make sure he's decent." My mother arched an eyebrow at me, a private semaphore she'd taught me when I was 12. I took a breath, let it out, and walked down the hallway toward the bedroom. The hallway smelled like linen spray and a wrong note. At the bedroom door, I paused and listened. I heard a hushed laugh, the kind people make when they think they're alone and headed for a joke. My sister's laugh always sounded like champagne poured into a glass you didn't order. I put my hand on the doorknob. I turned it. But that is another moment. This chapter stops where a hinge becomes a stage. I had a final task to close the loop of my night-turned morning plot. Back in the kitchen, as my mother laid out plates and Clara auditioned grapes, my phone buzzed. A text slid onto the screen from a contact labeled Celeste. "Can you cover for me if Mom asks where I am?" she wrote. The ice I'd chewed last night clicked again in my head, neat and controlled. I smiled so my face would remember how. He wanted surprise, I thought. Let's make it communal. I set the phone face down on the counter, screen still lit under my palm. The kitchen clock ticked, steady as a metronome. In the living room, our parents chatted about pastries. I pictured the bedroom door, the knob cool, the next breath marking a line I'd chosen hours ago. And I typed nothing at all. When people say timing is everything, they usually mean luck. I don't. I mean putting your hand on a door at the exact second it becomes a stage. I left the parents in the kitchen with pastries and polite chatter and walked down the hallway. The doorknob was cool. I turned it and pushed. What I saw first wasn't anything a stranger would gasp at. It was a tripod with a ring light, a soft white circle cutting a halo in the room. The duvet was bunched, a glitter phone case glowed on my nightstand, and the phone on the tripod blinked red. Recording. "Good morning," I said in my quarterly update tone. Darren turned, shirtless, eyes wide. Celeste wore my oversized college tee, hair flattened on one side. They froze like actors waiting for a cue. "Ivy," he said, voice pitched toward apology. "You're early." "I am," I said. "And I brought a crowd." Celeste's gaze jumped past me. "Mom?" she whispered, then louder. "Mom?" "In the kitchen," I said. "Clara and George, too. Fruit has entered the chat." I lifted my phone, opened the family thread, tapped the camera. I didn't aim at bodies. I aimed at the tripod, the ring light, the messy duvet, 2 coffee mugs on the dresser, one with lipstick that wasn't my shade. I let the frame linger on my side of the bed. Then I flipped the camera and smiled like a host. "Hi, everyone," I said. "Welcome to Saturday brunch. We've got bagels, fruit, and, apparently, a production set." "Ivy, stop," Darren said, reaching. I pivoted. He missed. Trade show reflexes. "I'm not filming you," I said to Celeste. "I'm filming set design." Footsteps behind me. Clara appeared first, pearls steady, George behind her. My parents came with a fruit platter and napkins like props. They stopped. Their eyes took in the ring light, the shirts on the floor, the two mugs, the way Darren's face tried to invent a different meaning, while Celeste stood with her chin tilted like a choice had soured. "Ivy," Clara said, voice thin with effort. "What is this?" "This is our bedroom," I said. "I didn't order the upgrades." My mother looked at Celeste. I saw the moment she made a new file folder in her head. "Let's talk privately," Darren said. "Please." "We will," I said. "Right after the tour. Context matters." I raised the phone again and narrated brightly. "And here we have betrayal in its natural habitat. Note the lighting. Note the timing. Saturday, 10:27 a.m., 3 hours after I landed early." George cleared his throat. "That's enough." "No," I said. "Not yet." Darren lunged. I stepped aside. His knee caught the duvet. The ring light wobbled, the tripod tipped, the phone clattered to the carpet and kept recording, staring at the ceiling. "Careful," I said. "Trip hazards everywhere." Clara's fingers found her necklace. "We are leaving," she told George, then to me. "We will discuss this privately." "Sure," I said, and hit send. The video flew into the family chat. I watched for the checkmark. When it appeared, something in me clicked into place. "You didn't," Celeste whispered. "I did," I said. "Evidence beats charm." Phones buzzed like rain on tin. My mother asked me to lower the camera. I did. We moved to the living room and sat like tourists after the dinosaur hall. Darren paced. Celeste hovered. Aunt Linda's name lit the family chat. "Darren, call me now." Next. "You're expected at 1 p.m. in HR." Darren stared at his screen. "This is getting out of control," he said. "It already was," I said. "I'm naming it." "You're vindictive," Celeste said. "Accurate," I said. "Not sorry." Clara turned to me. "Take that video down." "It's already spread," I said. "I'll add context if needed." "What do you want?" Darren asked. "Do you want to hurt me? You made your point." "I want to stop living in a room someone else rearranged while I was washing my face," I said. Silence. Then my father, "Son, go to your meeting. Face what you put in motion." He looked at me. "Do you need us?" "Yes," I said, "until he leaves." At 12:22 p.m., Celeste's ex-fiancé texted her, "We're done. Enjoy your sister's leftovers." Cruel. Efficient. She scraped her chair back and stared at me like I'd thrown the words myself. "You planned this," she said. "You chose the stage," I said. "I invited critics." Darren pulled on a shirt, picked up keys, then remembered the lease. His eyes flicked to me. "The car." "Canceled," I said. "Check your email." He blinked once like a man meeting a new policy. "We'll talk later," he said, and left. The house settled an inch. We picked at bagels like rations. Nora texted, "You home?" I wrote yes. "Do you need me?" "Yes, but later." Copy. Calm as ironed. At 1:58 p.m., Darren. "Emergency meeting, HR." I replied, "Yes." By 3, the parents had divided into tidy tasks. My mother washed the mugs from the dresser until they shined like new ideas. My father folded the tripod with careful hands. Clara and George left with polite stiffness that would play well at book club. Celeste emerged from the guest bath with her makeup reset and her chin set higher. Darren came back near 5, on foot, face flushed from a long walk or a longer argument. "Open," he said through the glass. I opened. "How was your meeting?" "Bad," he said. "Not terminated today. Reviewing." Linda looked at me like I tracked mud onto her favorite carpet. "Language," my mother said automatically from the kitchen, correcting nothing, simply asserting order. "Can we talk?" Darren asked. "Outside," I said. On the steps, he rubbed his neck. "Why did you do that?" he asked. "The group chat. That was nuclear." "I prefer accurate," I said. "Privacy was forfeited." "I made a mistake," he said. "Repeated," I said. "Okay, repeated. Are you happy now?" "No," I said. I'm awake. We can fix this, he said. Counseling. It doesn't have to be. Choose a different word, I said. It doesn't have to be over, he said. It is, I said, but we can be orderly. He glanced toward the curb. My keys. In a neighbor's garbage bin, I said, pointing to the tall blue can. Go ahead. He jogged over, lifted the lid, fished keys out of an ocean of junk mail. He held them up like a prize. You're ruthless, he said. I'm focused, I said. Drive safe. He pocketed them, gave our living room a last look, and left with a nod like a man agreeing with a judge. Clara tried for grace and landed on brittle. This is not how decent people handle private matters, she said, folding her hands so tightly her knuckles went pale. We tried decent, I said. It came with a ring light. My mother turned to her. Clara, my daughter flew home and walked into this, she said, steady. She is handling it without shouting. That is decent. George stared at the carpet pattern like it might offer counsel. We will support our son, he said at last, voice mild but final. You should, I said. Support doesn't require denial. It requires chairs and water and a calendar. Celeste laughed once, sharp. Listen to her, always a seminar. Better than improv, I said. Improv got us here. Enough, my father said, surprising even himself. Everyone breathe. He set a timer on his phone for 60 seconds. We sat and listened to a small digital pulse tick toward sanity. When it ended, no one clapped. But shoulders fell a fraction of an inch, and sometimes a fraction is the difference between a bridge and a gap. In the kitchen, after the first wave, I made toast because my hands needed work. Butter, knife, plate. Celeste hovered in the doorway like a moth who wanted the lamp but hated what it showed. You could have told me you were coming home, she said. I texted last night, I said. You were busy. With what? She said, daring me. Lighting, I said, and slid the toast into my mouth so I wouldn't say more. Chewing is a good manager. It takes the floor and keeps meetings short. My mother joined us, moved slow and precise. We'll take your things to the car, Ivy, she said. The sheets, too. Leave the sheets, I said. They're learning a lesson. Darren's texts kept arriving like low surf. We can explain. It's complicated. Please stop. I watched them stack and refused to become their clerk. When I didn't answer, he switched to practical questions. What about the mortgage? Can I borrow the car? I answered those with one-word replies and calendar links. Feelings can wait. Bills can't. Aunt Linda sent me a separate message. 1, I love you. 2, HR will likely ask if either party reports to the other. 3, tell your parents to turn off notifications for the thread. They don't need tinnitus. Copy, I wrote. The practical language steadied me like handrails. Out on the front steps, after he fetched the keys, Darren dragged a hand down his face and looked toward the river as if currents offered counsel. Do you think this was just about attraction? He asked. Or do you think I wanted to ruin us? I think you liked attention, I said. And you liked the risk until it looked back at you. He flinched. You think I'm the only one at fault? I think I left space you filled with applause, I said. I was busy winning at work. You were busy auditioning at home. Both can be true. Only one breaks vows. His eyes shone, not with tears, with effort. Can we please try to be teammates? We were teammates, I said. You forgot which jersey we wore. When Nora called with math, I went to my office, the small bedroom with a window that faces the maple tree. The desk held color-coded folders and a jar of pens that all wrote smoothly. I put the phone on speaker and opened a notebook, because writing numbers in ink makes them behave. Here's the plan, Nora said. We take what works in location 1, calm lighting, honest menu, fair prices, and duplicate with intention. No pushing miracle claims, just relief that shows up on time. What do you need from me besides a check? I asked. Messaging and early campaigns, she said. Also 3 favors. Introductions to 2 brands you've charmed, and a conversation with Lydia about cross-promos. She's building out a corporate wellness package for her client list. I sketched a rectangle labeled front window and wrote, clean fonts plus plants that don't die. I added a line. Our tone, competence with warmth. It felt like drawing a door in a wall and finding a real room behind it. Sleep wouldn't come easy, so I cleaned. Not bleach and mop cleaning, just a long, quiet sort. Drawers, the top of the dresser, a box of ugly cables we kept for nostalgia. I made 3 piles. Keep, toss, look again later. A marriage can be the same set of piles if you're willing to admit which one it lives in. In the look again later pile, I put the wooden box from our 5th anniversary, the one with wine corks and promises written in gel pen. I didn't open it. Some artifacts need cool air before you can handle them. Before bed, I wrote a list on a sticky note and stuck it to the door. Call attorney Monday. Separate utilities. Forward mail. Buy new sheets. Return ring light to Celeste with a receipt for her pride. The last line made me laugh, soft and short. Humor is a flashlight. You don't need it at noon, but it helps you get through hallways. Around 10, Clara called. I almost let it go to voicemail, then answered, because avoidance is gasoline. Ivy, she said, voice formal. For the record, I am disappointed in how this was handled. For the record, I said, me too. I didn't expect to be a producer this weekend. She inhaled sharply. I meant you broadcasting. I showed the set, I said. The leads introduced themselves. Silence. Then softer. I raised a son to be better. I raised myself to be steady, I said. Sometimes steadiness looks like a camera. Will you at least speak to the pastor? She asked, reaching for the comfort of roles. He counsels couples. We're not a couple, I said. We're co-signers who need a calendar. She sighed, small and tired. George says we should bring soup. Bring coffee, I said. Soup presumes appetite. After we hung up, my phone pinged with a message from an unknown number. Lydia here. Nora shared your cell. Heard you might be exploring wellness. Coffee next week? Also, if Darren reaches out about roles, send him directly to HR. We've tightened policies. I stared at the message and let the corners of my mouth lift for the first time since the ring light. Doors were rearranging themselves. Some were closing by design. Some were opening like they'd been waiting for a knock that finally sounded like me. Inside, my mother set cookies on the table with ceremony. My father said nothing, which for him means approval. My phone chimed. Nora. A link to a clean site seeking investors for a spa expansion. The old dream. Timing, she wrote. Call when your house stops vibrating. Soon, I wrote. Celeste leaned in the doorway. You're cruel, she said, tired now. I'm consistent, I said. Everyone will hate me. Not everyone, I said. Some will forget. Some will remember and learn nothing. You'll decide what to do with both. She looked small for the first time in years. I don't know where to go, she said. You have friends who love a couch, I said. Use your charm for a pillow. Are you going to tell work? She asked. It told itself, I said. Aunt Linda reads chats faster than reports. She snorted despite herself. Family humor, thin rope. Night arrived. My parents left with hugs that had structure. I locked the door and stood in the entryway listening to a house that felt alert. I hung up the call with Nora and carried the ring light and tripod to the garage. On the nightstand, I found Celeste's glitter case, now empty. I put it in a drawer. I stripped the bed, stuffed the sheets into a garbage bag, tied it, and took it to the curb. The room smelled like detergent and choices. I sat on the edge of the bare mattress and looked at the wall I'd painted, agreeable gray. I imagined repainting it, unequivocal. My phone buzzed one last time. Aunt Linda. Family belongs in family spaces. Work belongs in work spaces. Next week, We will fuss. Tonight, sleep. Understood, I typed. Then I lay on the bare mattress and listened for the steady sound of my own breathing. The house kept time like a drum left in a quiet room. By morning after rules, the house should have settled. It didn't. It hummed like wires in summer. News travels three ways in my world: family threads, office rumors, and the algorithm pretending to be a mirror. All three spun before coffee cooled. At 8:06 a.m., my father forwarded an email that wasn't meant for me. Darren, emergency meeting at noon. Aunt Linda had copied him accidentally, which meant intentionally. My mother replied with a single period, her private code for noted. Will stand by. At 8:11, Celeste's ex posted a photo of a closed jewelry box with the caption, "Return to sender." Comments bloomed like mold. I watched from the doorway of my home office with my toast in hand while the parents staged their own theater downstairs. In the kitchen, my mother rearranged mugs like chess pieces. In the living room, Clara polished sentences until they could pass inspection. George practiced being furniture. They weren't cruel, they were careful. Careful can still sting. "This isn't how families do things," Clara said to my mother, low and clipped. "This is exactly how families do things," my mother answered. "They show up and deal." I took my plate to the back porch. The maple tree threw shade like a friend covering a bad haircut. The neighbor's small dog patrolled a fence line with professional focus. On the table, my notebook lay open to yesterday's list. I added new bullets. Change all streaming passwords. Send Celeste a list of her items to collect, one bag only. Photograph the state of the house, room by room. Not drama, documentation. Lawyers like documentation. And so do tired women who would rather point to a photo than argue. By 9, the notifications had turned interview style. Ex-friends or maybe ex-acquaintances messaged with that tone people use when they love the smell of smoke but don't want it on their clothes. "Hey girl, saw the video. You okay?" wrote Jenna, who used to borrow my sweaters and return them stretched. "Define okay," I replied. "You didn't have to put them on blast," she wrote. "Private matters should be private." Private matters stayed private until my nightstand learned new choreography, I said. "But thanks for the note." Unsent but forming on my tongue. "You loved my curated life. Now you want me to curate my rage too," Nora called. "On a scale from 1 to courtroom, how are we framing today?" she asked. "Breakfast courtroom," I said, "but with better lighting." "Precision as always," she said. "I sent you a deck, wellness startup seeking investors and operators. Their numbers are honest and ugly in the right places. I flagged pages for you." "Received," I said, opening the email on my laptop. The deck wore a clean font and a confidence that didn't oversell. They had real rent, real payroll, real plans. I liked them already. "Take your time," Nora said, "and eat something that isn't toast." "I'm loyal to toast," I said. "It's the only thing that never lied to me." "Don't romanticize carbohydrates," she said. "Call me when Linda's update comes through." At 9:42, Celeste shuffled into the kitchen in borrowed leggings and my old college tee. She looked like memory smudged. My mother slid a glass of water toward her. Celeste didn't take it. "Can we talk?" she asked me. "We are," I said. "Alone." "Not a fan of rooms with doors today?" I said. "Say what you need." "You ruined my life," she said, voice catching on the last word. "No," I said. "I announced what you started." "Do you know what people are saying?" "About me? Or you? Or us?" I asked. "Because those are 3 different threads." "That I wanted your husband," she said, flinching at the pronoun. "You wanted attention," I said. "You wanted to be the favorite in a room I decorated." "You think you're so composed," she said. "Like neatness is virtue. It's not." "Neatness is survival," I said. "Virtue is another department." She stared at the fruit platter like it was making an argument. I need clothes, she said. My makeup bag. The ring light. The ring light's in the garage, I said. I'll give you 10 minutes in the bedroom with Mom standing by. You have one bag. One? She said, scandalized. I can't even… One, I said, or I'll pack for you and we'll both dislike the result. She huffed, then nodded like a person accepting a fine. My mother walked her down the hall. I stayed in the kitchen. Clara hovered, hand on her pearls. You don't have to be so theatrical, Clara said. Imagine today without my script, I said. Random entrances at odd hours. No thanks. George cleared his throat. We're taking Darren to lunch. Good, I said. Order something with protein. He'll need energy for apologies. Clara winced. We don't use that word in our house. You should, I said. It's healthy. They left at 10 to 11, their exit a combined sigh. My parents remained, quieter now, like a backstage crew cleaning up between acts. My father fixed a loose cabinet hinge because he can't sit still in other people's crises. My mother labeled a box with CEL and stuck a pink sticky note on the flap like a benediction. When Celeste returned from the bedroom, she carried a tote, a makeup case, and a framed Polaroid of us as kids from the hallway shelf. I stood. Leave the photo, I said. It's mine, she said. It's ours, I said. One day you'll ask for it and I'll mail it. Today, it stays. She held my gaze, then put the frame back with a sharpness that made the glass ring the shelf. Thanks for the hospitality, she said, and moved toward the door. 2 more things, I said. Return the spare key, and if anyone asks where you are, you have my permission to say recalculating. It's true and uninteresting. She dropped the key into my palm like a confession. You win, she said. This isn't a contest, I said. It's cleanup. After she left, I texted Darren. Your parents took you to lunch? Good. I need the living room at 1. I'll be here with my parents. You can come by at 3 to collect a suitcase I'll pack for you. No negotiation. He responded. 3 works. Then, can we talk? At 3, I wrote. At noon, my doorbell pinged with a delivery, a cardboard box addressed to me. Inside, bubble-wrapped, a small ceramic diffuser I'd ordered weeks ago and forgotten. I set it on the mantel and poured in lavender oil, because petty calm counts too. At 12:48, Jenna again. People think you're heartless. I am heart-sober, I replied. You're making us uncomfortable, she wrote. You were comfortable with a story that wasn't true, I said. Fix your settings. She switched tactics. You always thought you were better than everyone. No, I wrote. I thought I was better than my worst instincts, and today I'm right. I muted the thread. Noise is a choice. At 12:59, Aunt Linda called. Quick, she said. HR met with him, not terminated yet. Formal review Monday. He'll be placed on a performance plan for judgment and conduct. I advised him to get counsel and keep his calendar clean. Thank you, I said. And I'm sorry you're in the crosswind. I prefer crosswind to mold, she said. Also, he asked about transferring departments. I told him, transfers aren't escape hatches. I pictured Darren's face learning, finally, that the world has walls. At 1:30, my parents took over lunch duty for me and insisted I eat something else besides toast. My mother fried 2 eggs and set them next to salad because she knows I need green with my choices. My father refilled my water when I wasn't looking. We ate like the storm had an intermission. At 2, I walked through the house with my phone camera and took slow, steady footage. The living room with its neutral couch, the office with labeled files, the bedroom with bare mattress and neat corners. For a moment, I stood in the doorway and let my eyes rest on the empty frame of the bed. I didn't narrate this time. Documentation isn't performance. It's a ledger. At 2:30, I packed Darren's suitcase. 2 suits, 5 shirts, a handful of socks that matched. His favorite mug, not included. His watch charger, yes. A book he'd been reading about business metaphors. No. He could buy another and underline the same cliches on his own dime. At 2:50, Clara texted, "We're outside." I stepped onto the porch. Darren stood between his parents, shoulders a little slumped, eyes ringed with the kind of fatigue that doesn't earn sympathy when it's self-authored. "Your suitcase," I said, and handed it to him. 3 ground rules. 1. We communicate only by text or email for now. 2. You can pick up the rest of your items in a week, scheduled. 3. I'll have my attorney contact yours Monday. He nodded like the words weighed what they should. "Can I come inside for a second?" he asked, scanning my parents behind me. "No," I said. "Porch is neutral." He swallowed. "Ivy, Don't," I said. "Save it for sentences that will matter later." He looked toward the maple tree, then back at me. "Where should I go?" "You had a plan when you had the tripod," I said. "Follow it." Clara bristled. "That's unkind." "Kind left yesterday," I said. "Today is fair." Darren took the suitcase and moved toward the car. He paused. "I loved you," he said, like he was placing a fragile box on a step. I met his eyes. "I loved us," I said. "There's a difference." He nodded once, turned, and left. The suitcase wheels made a tidy little growl against the concrete, and I felt nothing final, only a room airing out. After the car turned the corner, my mother put her hand on my arm. "Sit," she said. I sat. She looked at me the way she did when I was 13 and came home from a slumber party where a girl had turned everyone into an audience for cruelty. "You handled this," she said. "Not perfectly, but well enough." "I don't know what perfect would have looked like," I said. "Perfect is an argument people sell you," she said. "You bought order." "That's enough." We spent the rest of the afternoon doing the tasks that make a life run. Calling utilities to separate accounts, setting up a P.O. box, changing automatic deliveries. I logged into the streaming services and changed the passwords to a new scheme based on the names of houseplants. Nobody guesses houseplants. In between hold music and confirmation numbers, I read through the wellness deck. The startup's founder, Talia, felt like a person I could sit with at a small table without needing to translate. She wrote, "We don't promise miracles. We promise clean towels and services that feel sensible." I liked sensible in a line-item world drunk on sparkle. I marked 3 pages with questions and drafted a message. At 5, the doorbell rang again. It was our neighbor from 2 houses down, Mr. Patel, holding a set of keys. "These landed in our bin," he said, amused. Looked important. "Community saves the day," I said, taking them. "He'll be by to collect?" "He already did," Mr. Patel said. Climbed in, came out with a magazine stuck to his shirt, looked like a raccoon with regrets. I smiled for real. "Thank you," I said. "Of course," he said, then, hesitating, "We like you. If you need a driveway to park in or a quiet chair to sit in, we have both." "Noted," I said, warmth hitting me in the sternum like a soft pitch. "I might take you up on the chair." After he left, I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop and typed an email to Talia. Concise, warm, direct. I attached a short list of strategic notes. What to keep, what to push, what to price, honestly. I offered a call Monday afternoon. I didn't mention money yet. I wanted to start with respect. Then I messaged Nora. "Read the deck. I like it." "Good," she wrote. "Because Talia likes you. She doesn't know me." "She knows your work," Nora replied. "And she watched a certain thread this morning. Her partner texted me, 'This woman operates.' That's investor code for, she won't flinch when the lights flicker." "Lights are flickering," I wrote. "Then hold steady," she wrote. "Also, I heard from Lydia. If Darren pitches himself anywhere in our circle, people will forward the email to me. He might try to pivot." "Let him pivot," I wrote. "Circles still have edges." At dusk, The parents left with hugs, instructions, and promises. My mother made me a list of soups she planned to bring, even though I'd asked for coffee. "I know," she said, patting my cheek. "But soup insists on care." Alone, I walked through the rooms again. The living room looked like a place where decisions had been drafted and signed. The bedroom, stripped and spare, looked like a room waiting for a name. I sat on the floor and leaned my back against the side of the bed frame, feeling the soft give of the rug under my palms. You can stand in a house and feel both ruin and relief in the same breath. My phone lit. Nora again. "Heads up. Talia just added you to a shared folder with their financials, and she wants to talk Monday. Also, separate note. Saw a rumor that Darren is asking around at Harbor & Co. That's the logistics firm we talked about at Lydia's thing. Keep that filed." "Filed," I wrote. "Send me the login." She did. I tapped the link and skimmed through a spreadsheet of costs that didn't lie. Rent, payroll, herbs, towels, repairs. It was almost soothing, numbers behaving how numbers do. Outside, a car door shut on the street and someone laughed. Ordinary sounds resumed their claim on the evening. I closed my eyes, let them. My last act before bed was to pack a small suitcase for myself. Not to leave, just to practice a future where I go and come on my own schedule. I put in 2 outfits that made me feel like a person who never needed a ring light to find her angles. I added sneakers and a book that didn't promise to fix me. As I zipped the suitcase, my phone buzzed. Nora. A new link, this time with a title that made me sit up. Alder Wellness, Investor Interest Form. She added, "They'll take a meeting this week. Ready to shift from subtracting to adding?" I hovered over the form, then typed my name. Morning began with the quiet confidence of a checklist that had already decided to win. I brewed coffee strong enough to double as commitment, sat at my desk, and opened my laptop. On one side of the screen glowed the wellness deck from Alder. On the other, my bank app displayed Darren's severance transfer, his final contribution to our joint narrative. I stared at the numbers, not out of guilt, but clarity. Joint payroll had processed overnight. The funds were still connected to the account I'd rerouted. In another life, I might have asked permission. In this one, I took opportunity at face value. Nora called just as I clicked transfer. "Tell me you're doing the sensible thing," she said. "I'm investing," I replied. "Investing or avenging? Why not both?" She laughed softly. "That's the tagline you've been searching for." By noon, contracts were signed digitally, my LLC taking a 20% share of Alder Wellness, soon to be Alder plus Monroe. The name wasn't my idea. Talia suggested it. "You bring credibility," she said, "and Monroe sounds like a product line people already trust." I liked the irony. While the documents uploaded, I opened an online marketplace and listed our bed. Lightly used, poor energy, available for pickup. Within an hour, a couple messaged. By evening, the mattress left with strangers who promised to give it a new start. I wiped down the frame, vacuumed the outline where love had once slept, and stood in the empty room, feeling the sharp satisfaction of subtraction. The next week moved in practical beats. Pain fades faster when it has paperwork. I rented out the house under my name, citing temporary relocation for business. The applications poured in. I chose a nurse and her partner who needed proximity to the hospital. Good people, steady paychecks, neutral lives. They'd move in next month. Darren, meanwhile, moved into a one-bedroom sublet across town. Clara called to inform me, voice clipped. "He's trying to rebuild," she said. "Then let him start with IKEA," I said. "Flat pack redemption." News filtered through Nora like a radio tuned to the right frequency. "He's been applying everywhere," she told me. "Even tried Harbor & Co. Lydia owns that competitor you like, remember?" "I remember," I said. "They do logistics better than most marriages." "Funny you mention that," she said. "Lydia's curious about him, but mostly about you." Tell her curiosity pays better than charity, I said. 2 days later, Celeste found me in the grocery store parking lot. She blocked my car with a shopping cart, mascara waterproof but working hard. You think you won, she said. I think I stopped losing, I replied, closing my trunk. You've ruined everything, she hissed. Everyone hates me. Even Mom barely talks to me. Correction, I said. They're processing data. Give it time. You wanted this, she said. You wanted me humiliated. No, I said, stepping closer. I wanted accountability. You confuse silence with forgiveness, and I'm done being quiet. She opened her mouth again, but I was tired of circles. My palm met her cheek, not hard, just enough to interrupt her script. The sound was clean, small, final. Her eyes went wide. You hit me. I corrected you, I said. There's a difference. You ruined it. I just filmed. I got in my car and drove away before my better judgment arrived. That night, Nora texted, Guess who just got a resume from Darren? He's applying for an operations job at Alder. I almost laughed. Does he know? Not yet, she replied. We'll play polite until the interview list is final. Then you decide. I stared at the message, the absurd neatness of the world folding in on itself. Darren, seeking stability from the empire he'd accidentally funded. I poured another coffee, opened my laptop, and reviewed Alder's branding plan. Under Vision, I added one line in red, Rebuild without apology. Outside, the streetlights blinked on, one by one, like a slow applause. The grand opening smelled like eucalyptus, champagne, and redemption. The Alder Plus Monroe Spa occupied a renovated brick building downtown, the kind that once stored textiles and now stored second chances. We'd kept the exposed beams, painted the walls cream, and added plants that looked effortlessly alive. Cameras lined the front lobby, local influencers hovering with phones tilted at flattering angles. Nora handled logistics like a stage manager. Remember to breathe, she said, handing me a glass of water before switching to her headset. Press arrives in 5. Don't look at Darren if he shows up. Pretend the air is art. He'll come, I said. Of course he will, she said. Nothing attracts an audience like the feeling of being left out. I wore white, not bridal, not pure, just a shade that said unbothered. My hair stayed pinned with quiet precision. My nails, pale gold. Presentation matters, especially when you're the product and the proof. At 6, the first guests arrived. Investors, clients, friends who'd survived the family thread and dared to stay. The air filled with greetings that sounded polished, but I could read the subtext in every tilt of the chin. So proud of you meant, still can't believe you did it. It's beautiful here meant, we saw the video. Nora gave her opening remarks, short, sharp, effective. Then she passed the microphone to me. Good evening, I began. Alder Plus Monroe exists because sometimes wellness is not a luxury, it's recovery. From noise, from chaos, from other people's expectations. Applause rippled politely. Behind the lights, I saw Darren. He'd entered quietly, Celeste at his side, both dressed like they belonged but knew they didn't. His shirt was ironed, his smile rehearsed. Celeste clutched a clutch too small for dignity. I didn't flinch. Tonight, I continued, we celebrate transparency, honest work, honest partnerships, honest energy. I gestured toward the main screen where we'd planned to play a short promotional reel. Nora's cue. She nodded. The lights dimmed. The projector whirred. Instead of our promotional clip, the screen displayed the thumbnail I'd chosen that morning, a paused frame of a ring light in a familiar bedroom. The audience gasped softly. Darren froze mid-step. Transparency, I said, voice steady, isn't always pretty, but it's cleansing. The footage played, not graphic, not cruel, just enough context. The laughter, the angle, the panic. My narration from that day, and here we have betrayal in its natural habitat. Gasps, whispers, the sound of 100 phones catching up to what their owners had only read. I turned toward Darren and Celeste. "This was my old life," I said, as the screen faded to our new spa logo, clean and gold. "And this," I gestured around, "is what comes next." Nora stepped in perfectly, switching the music to a soft instrumental. The crowd applauded again, this time not politely. A murmur of delight, disbelief, vindication. Darren's face drained of its corporate calm. Celeste muttered something I didn't catch before rushing out, heels clicking like punctuation marks. Darren tried to speak into the silence. "You can't," he started. "I can," I said into the mic, "because this is my story and for once I'm telling it live." Security appeared, not rough, just firm. They guided him toward the exit as cameras followed. Someone whispered, "This is better than television." I smiled faintly. "Exfoliation and exposure," I said to the crowd. "Same price tonight." Laughter rolled through the room, nervous but genuine. The kind that forgives discomfort because the ending feels earned. When the music resumed, guests returned to champagne, eager to toast empowerment. Nora leaned in, voice low. "You are trending in real time," she said. "Half the city just discovered the power of your Wi-Fi." "Let them," I said. "I paid for high speed." Darren's last professional contact, a man named Colin who once bragged about networking through golf, texted him mid-event. I saw the preview flash across his phone as security guided him outside. "We're done. This is too public." Nora caught the moment, whispered, "Consequences always RSVP late." After the speeches, I mingled like nothing had fractured. People congratulated me on courage, strategy, reinvention. I accepted each compliment like a receipt. An hour later, Nora returned with a look somewhere between amusement and disbelief. "Guess who just sent a job application to us?" she asked. "Don't tell me," I said. "Darren again?" "Front desk assistant," she said, waving her phone. "Claims he has strong familiarity with company values." I laughed then, a real clean laugh that startled even me. "Oh, we'll give him an interview," I said. "It's only fair." The rest of the night moved on rhythm. Photos, interviews, investors promising follow-up meetings. I floated through it, steady. When the last guest left, I stood at the front doors, watching the streetlights glint on wet pavement. Nora handed me my coat. "Was it worth it?" she asked. I thought of the first call in that hotel room, the glow on my side of the bed, the list I'd written. Smile. I'd done more than that. I'd rewritten the entire conversation. "Yes," I said, "every frame of it." Outside, a light drizzle softened the air. Across the street, in the reflection of the glass, I saw the building's name, Alder plus Monroe. Clean, gold, simple. Proof that rebuilding doesn't always mean erasing. Inside, Nora poured the last of the champagne into 2 glasses. "To endings," she said. "To naming them correctly," I replied. We clinked glasses, and for the first time in months, I felt the quiet kind of calm that doesn't need witnesses. The world could talk. I had work to do. 3 weeks after the launch, the spa's rhythm had found its heartbeat. Mornings began with the sound of diffusers clicking on, soft playlists swelling under chatter from clients booking facials and massages. The scent of eucalyptus and lemon peel lingered in the hallways, like proof that cleansing could be a business model. I'd started coming in early, before staff arrived, to sit at the front desk with a mug of coffee and silence. It was the kind of silence you earn, not the kind that's given to you because no one's speaking. I liked it better. At exactly 8:15 that morning, Nora appeared in the doorway, holding her tablet like a stage prop. "We have a 10 o'clock interview," she said. "Front desk position?" I asked, though I already knew. She nodded. "You want to sit in?" "I should," I said. "Owner oversight and all that?" She smirked. "You're going to love this one." "I doubt that," I said. but her grin told me I wouldn't be disappointed. At 9:58, I heard the sound of shoes squeaking on the polished floor, nervous pacing outside the glass door. I didn't need to look. The rhythm of his footsteps, impatient, uneven, was already familiar. When the receptionist opened the door, Darren walked in wearing a navy jacket and the expression of someone practicing humility as a foreign language. His hair was shorter, as if trimming the past might disguise it. He looked thinner, the kind of thin that comes from sleeping in rooms with too much echo. He didn't see me at first. Nora greeted him with professional brightness, motioning him toward the small interview room just off the lobby. I followed a minute later, carrying a folder and a pen I didn't plan to use. He turned when the door shut, and for a moment, neither of us spoke. Recognition hit him like an open window. "Ivy," he said, voice dry. "You're here." "I am," I said, sitting opposite him. "Owner privilege." "I thought you just invested," he said. "I did," I said. "And then I made it work." He looked at Nora, then back at me. "This isn't necessary." "It is," I said. "Let's start with your resume. It says you have experience managing logistics for mid-sized operations, correct?" His jaw tightened. "You know that already." "Pretend I don't," I said. "That's how interviews work." He exhaled. "Yes, I manage supply chains, vendor contracts, scheduling. I'm good at structure." "Good," I said, tapping the pen against my folder. "We value structure here." Nora leaned forward, voice neutral. "What attracted you to Alder plus Monroe?" He hesitated. "Reputation," he said finally. "You're growing fast. I wanted to be part of something stable." "Stable," I repeated. "Interesting choice." He caught my tone, but kept going. "I can adapt quickly. I've learned from... well, I've learned." "I hope so," I said. Nora looked between us, aware of the electricity, but choosing not to interfere. "And how do you handle conflict?" she asked. Darren gave the kind of laugh people rehearse in mirrors. "I've had practice." "I'll vouch for that," I said. He turned to me. "Ivy, what is this? Some kind of test?" "No," I said. "It's an opportunity. You wanted stability. This is where it starts." He blinked, unsure whether to thank me or brace. "So, you're really considering me?" "For a junior operations role," I said. "You'd report to Nora. She's tougher than I ever was." Nora nodded politely. "We expect punctuality, attention to detail, and emotional composure." He gave a faint, brittle smile. "I can manage that." "That would be new," I said, not cruelly, just honest. Before he could respond, the glass door flew open. Celeste stood there, hair a-tangle, eyes red, phone clutched like evidence. She looked younger and older at once, a paradox of guilt. "You used me!" she shouted at Darren. "You told me you needed comfort, not chaos. And now you're begging for a job here? Are you out of your mind?" Darren shot to his feet. "Celeste, not now." "Oh, now matters," she said, stepping into the room. "You blamed me for everything. You said she pointed at me, was impossible, that I understood you, but you just wanted someone to applaud your mistakes." "Enough," he said sharply. "No," she said. "I kept your secrets, and you left me with the noise." Nora stood up, signaling to security, but I raised a hand. "It's fine," I said. "Let her finish." Celeste turned to me, tears breaking loose. "You got what you wanted. Everyone hates me. I can't go anywhere without whispers. I lost my job, my friends, everything." "I didn't take those from you," I said softly. "You handed them over." Her breath hitched. "You're proud of this." "I'm resolved," I said. "That's different." Security appeared at the doorway. "Ma'am?" one asked. Celeste straightened, wiping her face. "I'm leaving," she said. Then to Darren, "Good luck rebuilding with someone else's name on the door." She walked out, shoulders trembling but upright. Darren stared after her, then looked at me. Was that satisfying? He asked quietly. No, I said. But it was necessary. He sat down again, palms flat on the table. You think you've won? I think I've learned, I said. And that's enough. Outside, rain began against the glass, a steady tapping that filled the silence. Nora closed her folder. I'll handle follow-up, she said, then left us alone. Darren stared at his hands. Ivy, I don't know how to fix any of this. You can start by not trying to fix me, I said. I'm already repaired. He looked up, eyes tired. I loved you even if I ruined it. I believe you, I said. That's why it hurt. He swallowed hard, then stood. So what now? Now, I said, rising too. You go home. Someone will email you about the position. Don't expect miracles. He gave a bitter half-smile. No miracles, he echoed. As he reached for the door, I spoke again. Darren. He turned. You said once we'd build an empire together, I said. We did. I just changed the name on the door. He looked like he might respond, then didn't. The door closed behind him with a quiet click. Through the glass, I watched him step into the rain, shoulders hunched, a man smaller than the noise he'd made. He paused, glanced back once, then kept walking. The puddles reflected the gold letters on the building, Alder plus Monroe. I turned the sign on the door to closed. The world outside blurred with water, but inside the air was clean, warm, steady. I picked up my mug, took a sip, and whispered to no one, We're open again tomorrow. Then I walked back to my office, calm, composed, and finally, undeniably, free.